This is Geralt of Rivia. Welcome to Gamer MD83, where your host looks just a little bit like Yennefer. Fine.
What's up, guys? I'm Gamer MD83, and today I am joined by a very special guest. I'm sure you guys have been hearing him probably non-stop as of late. Mr. Doug Cockle, he's actor, director, and of course, the voice of Geralt of Rivia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for asking me.
No, yeah, we all appreciate that you're taking the time to do this. Amazing work on The Witcher, by the way. So good.
Thank you.
I am going to be asking some of your guys' questions throughout the video. Let's jump right to it.
Let's do this thing.
Out of everything that you do in your career, how does voice acting play a part in it? And is it a big part, or is it something that you would like to do more of?
Oh gosh, well, I'd love it. I absolutely love doing voiceover work for games. It's really enjoyable, and it's something I kind of just fell into. And it's a huge part of my career, actually. I mean, I've done television, I've done film, and I've done, lots of theater, obviously. But at the moment, partly because of situations, but also because I've done a lot of it, I do a lot of video game work. So
Oh,
it's really enjoyable. It's really fun.
cool.
I love it, actually. It's completely different because you don't have to memorize the lines unless you're doing motion capture, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like improvising with a script. So you get to play with, how the moment can happen in different ways.
Uh-huh.
You work with the director and try to find the best way for that line to work.
I see you've done a bit of theater. I was looking at your website, and
hmm
not only as an actor but also as a director. Which sides do you prefer more, the acting or the directing?
Oh, I like them both
Mm-hmm.
for different reasons. Um, I love the acting, obviously, because ooh, you're my little dog.
Doggy.
I love the acting because it's how I got started, and I love creating a character and then exploring that character in real time on stage with an audience. That's
Mm-hmm.
really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you, sorry, excuse me, voice actor getting all clogged up. Um, but directing's fun in a different way. It's because you have more creative choices to make because you're working with set designers, costume designers, possibly with projectionists, projection designers, lighting designers, working with actors with a whole bunch of different ideas and for their own characters and things like that. You're a creative coordinator as a director, so
Mm-hmm.
you've got your fingers in a lot of different pies. Whereas when you're an actor, you've really only got your own character to worry about.
I see.
So, they're completely different. And I think one of the joys I get from directing is actually with the boyfriend recently, I stood at the back of the auditorium every performance. And I watched the audience as much as I watched my actors on stage.
Uh-huh.
'Cause I'm wondering if the jokes that we set up are going to work.
Oh,
How
I
well it's
see.
going to work. You know what I mean. So it's like,
Yeah. You're
yeah,
picking up on the reactions and stuff. That's
yeah.
cool. So I've got to ask, because I'm a huge Shakespeare nut. I saw you were in a few Shakespeare plays. Which was your favorite?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I think I think I have to say Much Ado About Nothing because I love comedy.
Yeah.
But I played Macbeth as well,
I
and that
saw. I
that
was like, wow.
yeah, that was a killer.
Yeah.
But a wonderful killer, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
I just realized I called Macbeth a killer. Doing Macbeth was a killer. He is a killer, isn't he?
He's such a killer. For someone that wants to get into voice acting, would you recommend acting first?
Not necessarily, but I think it helps.
Mm-hmm.
If you train as an actor, even if it's just basic training, then you understand um, character, you understand, how to approach emotional life of a character,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. You can get into it without doing any acting training, and I'm sure that people have, but I think it's better if you have at least some basic acting training.
Yeah. How did you get into voice acting?
Well, I did a little bit of it when I was when I was an undergrad, and then again in graduate school, just bits and pieces of things. And But I didn't really start really getting into it until I moved to England. And when I first moved to England, I was in a play at the York Theatre Royal with Honor Blackman in the lead. It was Glass Menagerie. You know, Honor
Oh,
Blackman. Wasn't she? She Pussy Galore in the Bond films. I
oh,
think that's
that's
what.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well, she was playing the main character, Amanda, and so we had really good audiences and everything. And I got my agent through that play, and she sent me on this audition for a game called Independence War II: Edge of Chaos
Mm-hmm.
ages ago. And I got the lead character, Cal, and that was my first video game thing. So it was my first proper voiceover job, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And they liked my work, and the company that did the voice production called me back, kept bringing me back for other things. So it just kind of developed, you know?
Did you know about the Witcher series before you became involved?
No, not at all. I didn't know anything about the books. I knew nothing about the development of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and at the time, I think it was in 2005 when we started recording it with Witcher 1.
Mm-hmm.
Even the books weren't out in English yet.
Oh,
So
yeah. They
you
take
couldn't
their
really.
time.
Yeah, yeah, they do. So it took a little time to kind of get my head around the world, but especially with Witcher 1, we had loads of people. I think we had one of the graphic artists, we had one of the producers, the writer, the English writer, and we had somebody else there as well. It was kind of challenging, actually, that very first one, because they were so passionate about it, and they were all directing me. And sometimes they were contradicting each other just a little bit, you know. So as the actor, I was kind of stood in the booth going, "Okay, what do I do with this now?"
That's what I was gonna ask. Is since Geralt was an already a pre-existing character that was attracted, that has attracted a huge following, and that has had so much character development throughout the years in the books. How did you approach that? Like, how did you find Geralt?
Well, I think. Sorry, it's actually really warm here. Uh,
It's
I
okay.
can see myself. I got little trickles of sweat going down my
Oh, oh
face.
no, it's okay.
Um, we don't have air conditioning or anything like that, and
Oh man.
it's kind of rare. So I'm sat in an upstairs room where it's quiet, but it's a bit warm as well.
Uh-huh.
Um, how did I find Geralt? Well, when I auditioned, Boris from CD Projekt Red, he kept kind of guiding me towards this really gruff voice, and he suggested that I think about Clint Eastwood, you know, and
Oh,
Dirty Harry kind of thing. And so now I won't say that Geralt is Dirty Harry, but that's the original kind of
I
inspiration
could
for
see it.
where his
Yeah.
voice is based. Yeah, and so when I got the role, that's kind of where we kept going with it. But I think it's developed over time, and I think
Yeah.
anybody who's played all three games will notice that um, well, this is a little bit different
Yeah.
because it's 10 years, you know. And when I started the game, I was a smoker as well. Witcher 1 and Witcher 2, I quit smoking. So when we
So-
came back into Witcher 2, we had to kind of find the voice again a little bit because my voice had changed a little bit.
oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So we spent a good, I think, probably half an hour, 45 minutes, which isn't really that long, but it's a long time when when you're being paid by the hour and they're
Yeah.
going, we got to get on with, doing this thing. Um, yeah, yeah. So my voice changed a little bit, but Geralt changes a little bit over the
Yeah.
course of the series as well.
Definitely.
And so I think each time, because of the nature of the individual game, we had to refine Geralt a little
Yeah.
bit.
I think that worked perfectly, especially after Witcher 2 with him losing his memory and stuff. I think it
Yeah.
yeah. Have you played any of the games?
I couldn't play Witcher 1 because it was only out on PC, and the PC I had would have exploded if I put
Yeah,
Witcher
same
in.
here. I've never played Witcher 1.
Um, Witcher 2, I did try to play, but again, because my specs weren't high enough,
Hmm.
it was very, stop and starty, and I just had to give up after a while. But I got CD Projekt Red was kind enough to send me some codes to get them on GOG.com
Uh-huh.
for free.
Oh,
So
nice.
I've been on and I've played both of them a little bit now.
Uh-huh.
I've not finished either of them,
Uh-huh.
but I've had a play around and they're good fun. They're completely different. The systems are very different, similar
Yeah.
but different. And I'm still waiting to play Witcher 3 actually.
Cool. I'm still in the process, so when we start talking about going more into The Witcher, we're gonna try to keep it spoiler free, but just in case, because I'm like, no, don't, because I'm not even that far into it, but oh, it's so good, it's so amazing.
I love the cinematics. The
Oh,
open cinematic, the one with the I don't know if she's a Bruxa or if she's some kind of vampire,
yeah,
isn't she?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And uh, I mean, I when I first saw it, I just went,
I
"Oh,
know,
this
me
is
too.
great!"
It was
Yeah.
amazing. I was like, oh, and that song, it adds so much feeling to the. I think they capture, I think they do those cinematics to capture so much of Geralt, like especially from the books. For people that haven't read the books, they capture so much from him, and though they do such a great job. Have you ever read the books?
I've read all of them, except
Oh,
that there's one that's come out recently, I think, or in the last 6 months or so, or year maybe, that I haven't read.
uh huh.
But I've read all the books that have come out in English, aside from
Nice.
that one.
Cool. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
I love them actually. I think they're wonderfully written,
aren't
and
they?
I think the game does a really, really good job of bringing that world to life. And I know Sapkowski was kind of like he didn't disapprove of the game, but he didn't really. I don't know if he quite knew what to do with the idea of it.
Uh huh.
But he kind of gave them free reign,
That's cool.
and I think they've been really, really true to the
Yeah,
stories they originally wrote.
definitely. I've read the first three books,
Yeah,
The Last Wish, Sword of Destiny, and Blood of Elves. And
yeah.
that beginning in The Witcher 3 with at Kaer Morhen with Ciri, I had tears in my eyes because I was like, I read this in Blood of Elves. It's so amazing, so amazing. You've been Geralt's voice since The Witcher 1. Did CD Projekt Red ever give you the opportunity to improv any lines or change things that you felt you could maybe express differently when it came to the believability of the character?
There were times, particularly because the script was originally written in Polish, as far as I understand, anyways. So they had Polish writers, and then Boris, who is the head English writer, would translate from the Polish to the English. And,
Oh,
he's fluent in both. And I think sometimes there were occasions when the translation was a bit clunky.
oh,
We would make suggestions. We would say, because it wasn't just me, it was me and the director,
mm-hmm.
usually Kate Saxon, but Damien Goodwin and Mark Healy were often, they kind of cycled through if Kate was busy. So me and Kate would, we'd record the line a few times. It's not really working. I think it would work better like this. And we'd call Boris up on Skype and say, there's this line in this episode. Can we change it to blah? And then
Mm,
he'd look at it and he'd agree, or he'd change it differently.
I see.
So yeah, there was some of that, but it wasn't so much improv as it was, this has to make sense.
I see.
Yeah, this line or this series of lines has to make sense, and it makes better sense if we say it like this.
Mm,
There were often little things like because we're recording in England, and Geralt is sort of an American voice. His
mm-hmm.
his voice is sort of an American one. Um, I call it kind of mid-Atlantic or transatlantic because it's kind of somewhere between England and America.
It's Rivian.
Caribbean, yes. But sometimes we'd have to decide on pronunciation, like the word herb. In
hmm
America, herb is, like oregano.
Yeah.
And that's another one, actually, oregano. Over here, it's oregano.
Oh,
And over
really?
here, yeah, over here, herb is herb. And I always say, no, herb is a guy's name. It's not a plant. You gotta, come on, Geralt's got to say herb.
Yeah.
We get all turned around because we couldn't remember whether we'd said herb or
Or
herb in the
Herb.
last recording. So
Oh
little
man,
things
it's
like
funny.
that were kind of fun. There were, though, you were asking about improvisations, and I don't know. I'll have to find out when I play the game. I don't think any of them made it into the game. The engineer James, he was keeping a file
Mm-hmm.
of things that I said that weren't in the script. Some of them were really rude, and some of them were me just cursing myself because I couldn't get the line right, or whatever it was, or little things, between takes. They James and Kate or whoever it was directing would be talking about stuff, and I'd be messing around on mic because you can hear yourself, and it's because Geralt's voice is so um, the gain is really really high
Yeah.
to get the power of it because I have to speak quite softly
Mm-hmm.
to get that kind of voice. Um, you can do funny things with it, with the mic and the headphones. You can make funny little noises and things like that. So I used to do stuff, but you're not, you're always being recorded, really. And I used to forget that. And sometimes in some of the scenes when things that were happening that in the world of the story they're really serious,
Yeah.
but because I'm in a box with a microphone in my face, and Kate and James are on the other side of the glass, and doing a 4 hour session
Yeah.
can it's not doesn't get boring, but sometimes you just need to break it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd say funny little things about the scene, or I'd say something as Geralt that he would never actually say.
Oh man,
Um,
you have to
you know,
share something.
I wish I could, but James is all locked tight away back inside studios.
I would. They should have put that like on a blooper reel. Oh my god, I would pay extra for that. I always find it very entertaining and even endearing to see Geralt interact differently with the different main characters, especially the ones he's closest to, like Dandelion, Yennefer, Triss, Ciri, and the other Witchers. Did you feel like you enjoyed either of those dialogues more so than the others?
That's a really interesting question. Who asked that? Do you know who it was?
I did.
You have names? You
I
did.
did.
Well done, you. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Uh, no, I don't. I don't think there were. I think there were various moments and things like that. I quite enjoy Geralt's relationship with Triss actually,
Hmm.
because there's something about that relationship that is fun.
Yeah.
It's mutually affectionate and loving,
It's
and
sweet.
they kind
Yeah.
of tease each other.
Yeah.
Whereas his relationship with Yennefer has a lot of baggage
Yeah.
and has a darker side to it, and it's interesting as well, I like that relationship as well. But there's just something kind of lighter and more fun about his relationship with Triss
Yeah.
in the dialogue, and I, um, oh, who's his friend? I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. His friend, the dwarf, who doesn't show up much in Witcher 3.
Zoltan?
Zoltan Cheetah.
Zoltan's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, I actually love it because Zoltan just takes the piss out of Geralt all the time. He
Yes.
just teases him, and they have a lovely, Zoltan's also always trying to get him drunk. So,
Yeah. The writing of The Witcher, not only by Sapkowski but also by CD Projekt Red, can be very intense in so many ways. Many times it deals with very real issues that can make you react in different ways. After a recording session, do you ever feel like you take those emotions that you were portraying as Geralt home as yourself? Do they ever affect you?
no, no, they don't. And I think I'm sure you've heard of stories about actors who get too involved in their roles and things like that. I think that usually happens in plays,
Yeah.
sometimes in films. We've just heard recently about oh, what's his name? The guy he's in that war film in Tank. He played his character the same. He stayed in character throughout. I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
But I think the thing is, I said earlier that sometimes I would say things kind of off mic, but not
Uh-huh.
really off mic, to keep things light. And I think that's partly why I don't take it home. Um, Ultimately, it's a job. It's not
Yeah.
something we're supposed to live ourselves. We're supposed to, well, not represent the characters, but present them
Yeah.
as beings on their own. And if as an actor you take on your character too much, you lose the objectivity that you need to be
I
able to
see.
perform them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because if I was so totally into the character that I was the scenarios that go through, I wouldn't be able to hear myself. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be listening to myself at the same time. I always say to my students, I said, look, the role of the actor is to be 90% character and 10% actor, who's making sure he's standing in his light, who's making sure he can be heard, who's making sure he's saying the right lines at the right time, doing the right things with the props. So you can't lose yourself in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to really feel what your character is feeling requires losing yourself in it. And I don't think that's the job of the actor.
Mm-hmm.
There may be actors listening to this now and going, "Oh, you, what are you talking about?
Oh,
You have to live the role."
unsubscribe.
But there are those actors out there. Daniel Day-Lewis famously, takes on his roles and wants to be called Mr. President,
Yeah.
shoot for things like that. And that's fine if that works for him. But I think for most people, it's got to be, let's keep this real. And, at the end of the day, I got to go home to my family and my dog and make dinner and, do all the things that everybody who's human in this world does.
Right. And not go look for monster contracts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who cares about drowners anyways? It doesn't upset you a few drowners.
Yeah. How important is Geralt to you as a character?
Oh, you know what? He's really important, actually. Um, he Geralt's been part of my life for 10 years.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's been such a long time.
Yeah, it's like he's like family.
Yeah.
Not that I've been through all the things he's been through, but I've watched him go through all these things. I've watched his journey and I've been part of making that journey happen.
Yeah.
And so I feel very close to him, actually. Um, I think it's sad in some ways that it's the last game that focuses on Geralt. Now, CD
Yeah.
Projekt Red haven't said that, they might not, they haven't said they're going to do another game, but they haven't said they're not either. So
I
I'm
know
kinda
they're kind of like teasing, and it's like, what do
Yeah.
you guys have in store?
So, I mean, I imagine it would be cool. It would probably be a good move for them
Yeah.
to do a game focused on Ciri next,
I was thinking the
because
same thing. I
this
was like,
game
it
was
fits.
bringing that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
Geralt might come back. Who
as
knows?
like a little cameo.
Yeah.
How do you feel saying, like, I mean, you kind of said a little bit of it, but how do you feel pretty much saying goodbye to Geralt?
I don't think I ever will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that in terms of the game, we're kind of saying goodbye to Geralt this time around, aren't we? But
Mm-hmm.
for me, because I've been working on his character for so long, and because he's been quite important, I mean, I'll make no bones about it. I mean, I'm not a millionaire, but CD Projekt Red have paid me well to do the voice of Geralt, and that's been good.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, I just think, having spent 10 years with the guy, and read all the books, and when I read the books, I hear my own voice.
Me too. Me
Which is
too.
weird.
No,
So,
I do too.
um, so I think it's something that I think it'll just stay with me. I don't think I'll ever say goodbye to Geralt. He'll come back and visit every now and then.
That's
For
good to
me.
hear. No, that's good. I was like, I was about to start crying. I'm like, oh my God, do I really want to ask him this?
I think it's different for the fans in some ways because, if there are no new games in that world, then it's kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
we're really enjoying this world, and I want more.
Yeah, exactly.
But there will be DLC, and
Yeah.
you can always go back and play. I think Witcher 3 is one of those games you can go back and play again and again and again. I was talking with someone the other day, yesterday, in fact, where I kept trying to call you. I thought you were someone else. Did you get all those messages?
I did. I saw. I was like, oh, I should have said who I was.
I was like, oh yeah, I think that must be so, because I did an audio interview yesterday, and
Uh-huh.
I thought that was
Oh
I thought that
man.
you were the other person, so I kept trying to contact you. It was like in the morning your time. So yeah, sorry.
No,
All
it's
the
okay.
messages.
It's
He
okay.
tried to call me like 3-4 times. What is he doing? Um, anyway, I forgot what the question was. He had gone through the whole game, and And I said, he asked me a similar question. He said, "What's your favorite? What are some of your favorite scenes that you recorded?" And I mentioned this particular one. I'm not going to mention now, unless you really want me to.
I was about to ask you that same question next. So go
They-
ahead.
um, well, it's not a big spoiler because it's not a plot twist or anything like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Um, but there's a scene when Geralt, Lambert, and Vesemir. I think there was another Witcher there as well, but I can't remember.
Oh, Eskel?
Uh, Eskel,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one. They're at Kaer
Mm-hmm.
and they're just getting blind drunk and
Oh,
saying
yeah.
the most ridiculous things. And it was a really fun scene to do because it was complete. We've never seen Geralt like this. I mean, he was talking rubbish.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I remember recording it. It was so much fun.
Hmm.
So yeah,
The drunk scene,
there's
yeah.
just fun stuff. Yeah, the drunk scene. Yeah.
Oh, man. You know what I was really sad about was in Witcher 2, there was a drunk scene, not like this time, but you know how he just passes out and he wakes up with a tattoo on his neck?
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
Oh man, and yeah, he wakes up with a tattoo right here on his neck. And in Witcher, and I had been asking CD Projekt Red, I was like, "Are you going to transfer that into Witcher 3? Because I want my Geralt with my tattoo." Uh, but it was they only transferred it over to the PC imports, and I was like, "Oh no," because I was playing on PS4, but yeah, I mean they could only do so much. I was like, I wanted
Yeah,
my
yeah.
tattoo.
They put it out on three platforms:
I
PC,
know.
Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. I think it's a minor miracle that they didn't have to, delay putting it out there even longer.
I know. And they still did a good job about bringing in past what happened in The Witcher 2 by doing those questions in the
Yeah,
game and incorporating that. I thought that was good. But no
yeah.
tattoo, sadly.
Geralt is tattooless.
Was it a challenge for you to voice a character that is convinced, or at least always tries to convince himself, that he is emotionless because he is a mutant, but constantly shows signs of having very strong feelings like hate, love, sadness, and even paternal reactions?
Well, anybody who's played the three games will recognize the change in his emotional life or his external emotional life from Witcher 1 to Witcher 3. I mean, Witcher 3 is he's almost a different Geralt in some
Yeah.
ways because suddenly he expresses emotion
Yeah.
more freely. Um, I don't think it's that he thinks he's emotionless. I actually think it's more a case of he is he's become very, very good at suppressing them, at
Mm-hmm.
controlling them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the Witchers are emotionless. I mean, in Witcher 3, look at Lambert.
Yeah.
He's got all kinds of emotions going on,
Yeah.
and Eskel does too, actually. And Vesemir is like a father figure to
Yeah.
Geralt and treats him like that. So actually, all the Witchers have all these emotions going on, but they've been through the trial of the grasses. They've been through all this training. They've been out killing monsters and being treated like second class or,
Yeah.
or third across the land. They have to keep their emotions in check, or they just go and kill everybody who's looked sideways at them
Yeah.
because they could.
Yeah.
Uh, and some of them do. I mean, there's a character in The Witcher 3, a Witcher character from the School of the Cat,
Mm-hmm.
who, if you haven't met him yet, you
I
will. But
haven't.
he's a Witcher who's kind of gone across the line.
Oh, I think I heard about that. Like like this semi crazy Witcher from the cat school. Yeah, I had heard about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I don't think that they're emotionless. I think that's something we get wrong. I don't know if it's from Sapkowski or if it's CD pushed. Um, but my perspective on it is Geralt is actually full of emotion. He has really strong emotions, and that makes it even more important for
Hmm.
him to keep them in check because if he
Yeah.
doesn't, he's going to get killed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think it's a big theme in the books. I think more so in the books than
Yeah.
in the game as well, but in the books it's constantly showing you he does have emotions. He does. It's probably just his code that he put on to himself to, like you said, to suppress himself.
he's got some lovely scenes with Yennefer and with
Yeah.
Triss, and he's got fantastic stuff with Ciri.
Oh.
And I was so pleased that we were seeing this, these sides of. Sorry, I'm banging my microphone now. Um, I was so pleased to see these scenes with more heart
Me too.
coming into it. It just adds the fourth dimension, really.
Oh yeah, it develops the character like crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have any funny stories about voicing Geralt? I guess like those little bloopers, but do you have any like when you were working on specific scenes?
I don't know if this is a funny story or not. Um, uh, when when you're recording, there are these lovely people who work on reception, um, and every once in a while they come into the studio to ask if you want some tea or anything like that, for the director and engineer and the performer. And sometimes, especially when we were getting through stuff that was just like, sometimes recording things like following the blood trail,
Uh-huh.
it's just kind of dull because really all you're doing is reporting what you see.
Yeah.
There's no journey to go through or anything like that. So you're just recording lines and trying to keep them alive and activated. Um, uh, and I remember on several occasions when they came in to give me some tea. I used to have honey lemon tea and thing or peppermint, and I'd hide behind the door, and they'd come in, and I'd jump at them. and the first couple of times, I really got them. There were teas everywhere, and
Oh
you
my
know,
god.
and uh, and then they got used to it, and so they started coming in the door differently. So little games like that you play in the studio sometimes.
That's cool.
But no, it was mostly the blooper kind of thing. I can't remember anything specific. I mean, like I said, there were some really rude ones. I mean, sometimes when we were recording some of the sex scenes, I would just get a bit carried away and start improvising. And then some of the things that came out of my mouth are not publishable.
They're like, okay, yeah, we'll cut that part out.
Stick to the script, Doug. Stick to the script.
You don't work with any of the voice actors, do you? The other ones?
No, it's all recorded completely separately.
Uh,
I met a few of them. I met I can never remember her name because I've only met her a few times. The girl who plays Triss,
mm-hmm.
and she was lovely. We had lunch over one afternoon,
Oh, cool.
um, and there's a couple of the other actors that I've met, but it's like ships in the night. I'm coming or going, and they're coming or going, and
Yeah.
literally, one actor leaves the booth and another actor goes in, and it's just passing in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be really interesting to get us all together. I don't know how many actors there were actually involved. There must have been 60 or 100. I mean, some actors come in and they do multiple voices. So they'll
Yeah.
do, 6 or 8 or 10 different characters. A lot of small ones, like some of those Skellige warriors and things like
Yeah.
that. And then some like myself and character throughout. I did try to convince them. Ooh, are you seeing that?
Yeah.
Was the light ring? That was
Yeah.
weird. It wasn't doing it in here, but it was doing it on the screen.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
that. Went party mode.
yeah, poltergeist. Ooh.
Ooh. Time to call Geralt.
Yeah, yeah. I did try to convince them to let me do some other voices. Just to do some random voices in the game, but
Yeah.
they decided not to because they didn't want to run the risk of people recognizing that it was the guy who plays Geralt doing this Skellige warrior or whatever.
That would have been amazing, though.
My Northern Irish accent is not terribly good.
So, like a million people asked. I'm pretty sure you're expecting this. Yennefer or Triss?
I know, everybody asks. Well, I have to say it would be really hard to choose for all kinds of reasons. I mean,
Yeah.
there's that history with Yennefer, and they're both beautiful and smart and talented and everything else. But if I have to choose as Doug,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so I kind of prefer Triss. partly because in a really shallow way, I like red hair. But also because, like I said before, I think Triss is better for Geralt, actually.
Yeah.
I think all the stuff that he and Yennefer went through has to be in the past, and I don't think they can get over it.
Hmm.
I think they constantly try to get back together in
Yeah.
various ways. It just never quite works. It seems like a completely not abusive relationship. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Uh, Whereas Triss, she and Geralt seem to just get on like a house on fire, and if they could just sort out his wandering,
Hmm.
they'd be okay. They seem to get on really well. So
Yeah.
if I had to choose for Geralt, I'd choose Triss, I think.
Cool. I
I don't know if I'd ever be fully satisfied with that though, because there seems like
I
there's some
know.
dark part of his heart that is just absolutely, completely given to Yennefer.
Exactly. That's what makes it hard. Everyone asks me the same thing as well. They're like, "So are you going to choose Yennefer or Triss? Yennefer or Triss?" And I'm like, "I don't know yet because I mean, I've read some of the books and I'm just like Yennefer is the one, you know? But at the same
And
time,
in the game, you can choose to not choose.
that's what I was going to say. I was like, you know what? I just want to see Geralt just ride off in the sunset with Zoltan and Dandelion and I think I'd be happy.
I
That
don't
would
know
be
if that's what
amazing.
happens.
Oh man.
There's an ending. There are three endings posted out there on YouTube somewhere, and I watched a couple of them, and one of them I think might be the result if you choose neither Triss nor Yennefer.
Really?
And it was a pretty dark ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how true it was. It could have been made up. Who knows?
Oh, I want Geralt to be happy with his buddies.
Yeah, he could just go hang out with Zoltan and Dandelion, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Just go be a bar crawling witcher.
So now that The Witcher 3 is finally out, do you have any upcoming projects that you can talk about?
I'm actually going up to London tomorrow to record for a new game, but I don't think I can say what it is.
Okay.
And I think it's a one-off type thing. It's not a massive thing like Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I just started back in February, I think it was. I started on the first episode of a new game called Blues and Bullets,
Mm-hmm.
and it's by a production company called A Crowd of Monsters, and they're based in Spain, in Barcelona.
Oh, cool.
And they're really nice guys. And uh, I play the main character, Elliot Ness,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not come out yet. I think they're still developing it. I think they're still, getting it ready, but they're going to put it out in episodes. I think you can get it on Xbox and PlayStation, and you can download it.
Oh,
And they're going to see how the first episode goes, and then, continue, um, as it were. So I'm kind of excited about that because it's a new one, and it's got a bit of a life to it.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm still doing well. I haven't done since November or December, but Book of Unwritten Tales, as we did Book of Unwritten Tales 1, and just a little while ago did Book of Unwritten Tales 2
Oh, really?
as well. So yes, there's a few things going on.
Cool.
But we'll see what happens. It's I've done a couple small roles in films as well this year, and I mean, I can only do what I can get away with, as it were,
Mm-hmm.
because because I do teach full time as well.
Oh, cool.
So mostly what I do is I'll go and do a couple days up in London doing whatever it is, and then it'll be 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months before another job comes through, or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Oh, I saw on Twitter that you recently directed a musical. Is that right?
Yeah, that was the boyfriend. I mentioned it earlier when I said I
Uh-huh.
stand at the back and I watch the audience. Um, yeah, it's the first time I've directed a musical. I directed a musical play once called the play is called A Soldier's Tale and it's by Igor Stravinsky,
Uh-huh.
who's a classical composer as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the first proper musical, and yeah, I wasn't sure about it. I was kind of I was slated to direct that slot, and then when the play was chosen, I kind of went, oh, because it's a, especially once I read it, it's a fluffy little thing. It's
Aw.
just, it's full of plot holes. It doesn't make sense. Characters who are just ridiculous. And I kind of went into rehearsals thinking, I have to make this fun. So I told the whole cast, because I was reading it once on the train back from London. Um, and I suddenly thought, oh, there's lots of sexual innuendo in this. So I thought, oh, that's what we're going to do. That's how this is going to be interesting for me. We're going to find all the sexual innuendo, and we're going to pull it all out of there. And all these characters are going to be really naughty characters. And so I
Oh
told the
man.
cast on the first day of rehearsal, I said, look, this is what we're going to do. And I want you to all find the innuendos in the play. And then as we went through, the innuendos didn't work. Well, they did, but they just made it really dirty. And
Uh-huh.
it didn't make the play work. So we dropped the innuendos, but then we couldn't stop joking with the innuendos. So every day it was like, how many innuendos can we find? And we actually, I finally said at the on closing night, and I got on the tannoy system, and I said to the whole cast backstage, I said, I just want to leave you with one final innuendo. And if you think about Joey from Friends saying innuendo. Hey, so there you go.
I saw you're gonna be attending Wales Comic Con this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
Is this gonna be your first con?
No, I went to San Diego Comic Con last
Oh
year.
right, that's right, that's right.
Yeah. It'll be my first con on my own, as it were. Sound like I'm going to go rip some old ladies off or something. My first con on my own. San Diego Comic Con, I was taken by CD Projekt Red, so I was kind of looked after, while I was there, and it was great fun. I loved hanging out with those guys; they were really fun. But this one, yeah, I've been invited, and I'm going to go. And I was talking with the guy who invited me, and he was talking about doing signatures and things like that. And he said, some people charge, some people don't. It's entirely up to you. I was like, well, what should I do? I don't. It doesn't feel right to charge, really. I was talking with my wife later that night, and she said, just have a jar that says Doug's Beer Fund on the front of it. And, if people want to drop a pound in, they can drop a pound in. If they don't, they don't. I said, that's a great idea.
That's perfect. It's like a little tip jar. That's perfect.
Yeah. I'm going for the fans. I'm not going for me.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
that's
I'm going
cool.
for me, but you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
going to support The Witcher, and I'm going for the fans, and I'm going to experience the Comic Con again. Because it's such a fantastic atmosphere. I loved it in San Diego. I know it's, huge. And the Wales Comic Con is probably a little bit smaller, but still pretty big. And I'm just looking. I loved the cosplay.
Oh my God.
I've never seen so much elaborate cosplay in my life.
Some people are
People who
super
really,
skilled. Yeah.
yeah, and they make their own costumes, and
Yeah.
they do the whole thing. It was amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy. I was seeing some pictures of The Witcher specifically, the cosplay, and some of it just blew me away. Like the Wild Hunt, all those like costumes. I'm like, oh
Really?
my God, yeah. It was crazy. They looked
I've
legit.
seen some of the stuff. I've seen some of the stuff that the Witcher website has posted with various people around the world dressed as Ciri and
Yeah.
Geralt and Yennefer and stuff.
Yeah, some of those girls that dress up as Triss and Yennefer, I'm like, man, they could like play them in a movie or something. It's pretty. They do a good job. Okay, so I'll provide all the information for people that want more information in the description down below. So if you guys want the information when it comes to the Wales Comic Con, just check the description. So again, Doug, it was an absolute honor. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking again. It's always
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure.
Awesome.
It's been very nice to meet you, MD.
Thank you. It was again. It was an honor. I'm so glad to meet you finally. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for providing a lot of these questions, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.
I have actually noticed that my voice has changed. It's doing the voice because it's right down there. You really have to kind of drop it into the throat. So it's easier for me to do Geralt's voice, but I actually noticed that my normal voice is affected. Geralt will be with me for years.
Man, my mind just blew up a little bit hearing Geralt say my username. Does Geralt have any like catchphrases or anything like that?
He doesn't really know.
No.
I think the only catchphrase he's got is,
I'm Geralt of Rivia.
And fine.
Fine. Where your host looks just a little bit like Yennefer. Fine.
I know, you cut the fine out. That's
No way I'm cutting that out.